Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today I'm taking another look at my Sony A7 IV. Now I've had the A7 IV now for probably about a year and it's been used relentlessly. I've done thousands, there's 50 odd thousand on the shutter count, and I think when I bought it, it had 20,000-ish. So I reckon I've done 30 odd thousand photographs on the camera, not to mention masses of video. I use it constantly here in the studio when I run my YouTube channel, doing my videos. It's my main close-up camera. It's not today, obviously, because I'm showing you the camera here. My main close-up camera, if you are interested today, is the Sony FX30 with the Viltrox 33mm lens fitted, and the wide camera there is my Sony A7iv Mark II with the Sigma 18-50 lens fitted to it. And the close-up camera that's getting the shots of this is my old Sony A7iv with the full frame 20-40 Tamron 20-40 lens fitted. So now I've got that out of the way, the A7 IV. Now I bought it, as I say, about a year ago, done about 30 odd thousand photographs and masses of video content, and it's a workhorse. It is a phenomenal camera. I can highly recommend this to anyone who's looking for a camera that is capable of most things. Now I don't do wildlife and I don't do sports photography. Apparently the A7 IV sensor has quite bad rolling shutter. So if you're doing lots of panning, which you would be in sports and you would be in wildlife, you may get that sort of rolling shutter bendy effect. And it looks quite pronounced on video. It's quite pronounced on photographs as well, because straight lines then become bent. I don't do that sort of photography. But if we look through some of the photographs that I've taken with this camera, and I've taken, as I say, absolutely loads and loads in lots of different environments other than sports and wildlife, it's a great workhorse. The 33 megapixel sensor is phenomenal. It's not too large, but the file sizes are a nightmare to work with, but it's also large enough so if you need to do heavy cropping, you can do. Phenomenal camera, phenomenal sensor. Handling is absolutely incredible. I love the handling. I've used this on a prolonged period, you know, all day long, and it doesn't get tiring. If you've got a long lens on, I have got the Tamron 70-180, and that's quite a heavy lens. So after a prolonged period of time, yeah, you do start to feel it in your wrist because it does get quite heavy. But because of the grip, it's got a really nice grip on the camera. That's predominantly because of the FZ100 battery. Also, the life expectancy and the life on the battery is fantastic. You get several hours worth of photography with this one battery. This large battery is great if you do need a battery that is going to last you, a good length of time. Also, when we do stage photography, one battery will last probably the entire show, although I tend to swap them out during the intervals. So yeah, great handling, great grip, great battery. No end of function buttons on the camera. They're all over the place. You've got several on the back, you've got one on the top there. And the great thing with the function buttons, you can assign them for different things depending on whether you're doing photography or whether you're doing video. As an example, I'll show you what I mean by that. As an example, that's in photography at the moment, a little dial under the main dial. You can see here under there has got a switch. You switch it on the front here to switch between photography, video and slow and quick motion. So if we're in photography, I've got that in aperture priority. I've assigned, for example, this one here on the D-pad setting in photography, that will set the drive mode. You can see there it's come up drive mode, so single shot, burst shooting, whatever. But if I switch that now to video, so let's now turn this dial to video. We're now in video as shown on that other dial, it's on video. If I push that same button in, I can adjust the audio levels. So you can assign the same function buttons to different functions for video and photography. That's great. I wish every camera did that. My Panasonic S9 doesn't do that, and I find that really annoying. It's got a 3-inch articulating screen, pretty standard for most cameras these days. And it's got a 3.6 million dot viewfinder. So I think that is great. It's lovely and sharp. I love the viewfinder. I use it a lot actually, particularly if I'm working in theatres. It's great to be able to use viewfinder to be able to compose the shot really well. It's bright, it's sharp, and it's really, really high quality. It's an OLED viewfinder, so it's, you know, really, really nice quality, and everything on the camera just feels solid. It just feels rock solid. It's not going to fall apart, and it's going to last for years. It really is so well built, so well designed. It is a 33 megapixel full frame camera, so you do get that lovely full frame aesthetic. You get that lovely bokeh, that lovely separation between the foreground and the background, very much dependent on what lenses you're using, of course. But also this camera does have in-body image stabilization up to about 5.5 stops of EV. So not bad actually, pretty damn good. So you can get pretty decent slow shutter speeds if you want, either create effects, or if you are going into buildings and it's low light, then you can actually reduce the shutter speed and still get lovely, lovely images. So yeah, an amazing workhorse, amazing build quality, amazing handling. Also, in the studio, when I'm using it with my Godox flash, the flash sync speed is up to 250th of a second. So you still can, you know, use it in the studio brilliantly because you can set a much faster shutter speed than you can with a lot of cameras that only got 1/60th or 125th sync speed. This is sync up to 250th of a second. So absolutely super for that. So what we'll do now is have a quick look at some of the images. I will upload these images to my Flickr page. I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can have a look at them on Flickr. It's much better than looking at them here. But I have taken, as I say, 30 to 40,000 images from a restaurant shoot that we've done a couple of restaurants actually. So we've done a restaurant, I went to London, done some lovely pictures in London, and the slow shutter speeds again. Everything around the train is sharp, but the train's blurred because we set a slower shutter speed. Great for creating those sort of effects. Great in the studio. Did a baby bump shoot, and we've done a children's shoot. There's some children there. Not going to open those files, but yeah, great for studio photography because of the fast sync speed. So a whole variety of some young teenagers that we photographed in the studio. A pre-wedding shoot, which was lovely, came out really good. And then we went on to actually photograph a wedding. Lots of stage photography. I'm not going to open any of these stage photos because there's children in them. So we'll spin through them. And then if we look down here, done a wedding shoot, which again, some of the sample images are up on my Flickr page of the wedding shoot. Yeah, really, really great. I just love the camera, basically. I think it's got everything that you're going to need. Again, lovely wedding photographs there. A couple were absolutely chuffed to bits with the images. And then another dance school shoot. So yeah, it is a fabulous camera. I can highly recommend it. It takes E-mount lenses, which is another fabulous thing with this camera. But the lenses, there's many, many lenses available. Now it is a full frame camera, so obviously you need to be buying the full frame lenses for it, as opposed to the Sony E-mount lenses for their APS-C cameras. But there's loads around. We've got third-party lenses. I picked up this Samyang 75mm. A lot of these portrait photographs and the wedding photographs were taken on the Samyang 75mm, and as a cracking lens, I got it for something like 250 quid, 230 pounds, something like that. And that lens is one of my favorite because it's so cost effective. For my video shoots here in the studio, my nifty 50, the Sony 50mm lens, full frame f1.8, 150 quid used, I think it was, maybe even less than that. So it's not expensive, but it's the perfect lens for here in the studio. It's only a small studio, I don't have a lot of space. So it still creates that separation. It still gives me that lovely separation between myself and the background. So that's a cracking lens. Really do like that lens. Wide range of lenses for the A7 IV, and it makes it, you know, a very, very compelling package. Plenty of function buttons, a really nice PASM dial on the top there, and I say really nice, nice screen and a lovely viewfinder. There's a few things that are a little bit annoying with this camera. Nothing drastic, nothing that affects the usability, but there is no tally light on the camera. So when you're filming, certainly when you're working by yourself, if you've got a camera person behind the camera, it doesn't make any odds. But there is no tally light when we're in video. So if I put it into video and turn it on, when I start recording, there isn't a tally light. It's got the lovely big red record button on the top, but there is no tally light that indicates that it is actually filming. There is the red record frame around the actual screen, so that gives you an indication that it is filming. But I love the bright red tally light on the cameras, like my FX30 has, my ZV-E10 Mark II has, and my ZV-E10 actually. There's no denying that that is actually recording, because there's nothing more frustrating than having a camera where you think it's recording, then you come to do the edit and you find the file isn't there because you didn't hit the record button, or maybe you did, but you didn't hit it firm enough, you know. So that's one downside, that there is no tally light. Also, under certain conditions, it does have a tendency to overheat. Now, I've not managed to get it to overheat, ironically, but I did actually lend it to a good friend of mine. He was filming in a hot environment, and he did say it overheated. He's got one as well, and he said they both overheated. But I have actually purchased a great little device. It is the Ulanzi cooling fan. I shall leave a link to this in the description of this video. Now, I use this for quite a few different cameras. It doesn't work with my Panasonic S9, unfortunately, because of the fitting. But this is great. It's got a separate battery, so you just put the battery on the back there, and then you've got a self-contained unit to cool the actual camera down. So it keeps it nice and cool, and it does help to prevent it from overheating. Another key thing to help prevent it from overheating: don't use the internal battery. Buy yourself a dummy battery, either a D-tap one or USB-C one, that goes into a separate power block. For example, my FX30, even though it does have a fan, I'm running that into a, I think it was a newer V-Lock battery using the D-tap dummy battery. I mean, ZV-E10 particularly, I'm running into a dummy battery, running the dummy battery into a power block. So that will help disperse the heat much better rather than having the battery in the camera, because this is what creates the overheating, or helps to create the overheating, because the battery gets hot. Yeah, so that's 2 points. A slight dislike: there's no tally light, and also it does tend to overheat without the cooling fan. And also with a long lens, if you're using it for any long length of time, prolonged time, it can get quite painful on your wrist, because it comes quite front heavy. So I would suggest either using a monopod or have breaks when you're doing your photography or doing your filming, so you're not constantly walking around with a long lens on the camera. But that would be the same for any camera like this. It has got your 2 card slots. Again, another pro feature. Now, it takes SD cards, 2 SD card slots, and also the top slot is SD card, or it's CF Express Type A card. So I have both in there at the moment. I've got an SD card because they're so cost effective, but it takes either the little CF Express A cards, which are faster, or it will take the standard SD card. So great. The second card slot is only SD, but it's a UHS-2 card slot, but it is only SD, but it has got, as I say, the 2 card slots, so you've got redundancy built into the camera. Again, brilliant for professional use. I've got one set up for taking RAWs and the other one for JPEGs. So if I want to offload those JPEGs quickly, I can do so. Well, we're both 33 megapixel files. It's got all the dials you need. You've got your command dial on the front. I've got that set for aperture, and then it's got two on the back here, which is phenomenal. So I got one set up for exposure compensation and one for setting the shutter speed. So I got me exposure triangle easy actually, because I've got aperture, shutter speed, exposure compensation, and then this twirly dial on the back here I've got set up for ISO. So to adjust the exposure in video or in photographs, absolute doddle, no problem whatsoever. And I say all the function buttons are set up for all sorts of different functions that suit my needs. The great thing also, you can save, once you've set it all up, you can save that to your SD card and then save that file on your computer. So if you do lend the camera to someone and they change all the settings, it's not a problem because you've got those settings saved. You can load back into the camera. Likewise, if you do need to hire or borrow a second A7 IV because you're doing a double shoot, then you can load your settings onto that A7 IV. So yeah, an all-round beast of a camera. Beautiful to use, fun to use, reliable. The autofocus obviously goes without saying is brilliant. I find the eye detect and face detect works great. Same as on my FX30, it's working brilliant. And also, when you're holding stuff up, it doesn't switch. So if you're doing all these sort of gestures, it still stays focused on your face or your eye. You can turn that off. I've set up one of these function buttons to turn that off because I find if I'm doing a group shot, I don't want it to pick out one particular face or one particular eye. So I've set up the AEL button. Basically, I push that in and that'll turn it off or on. You see on the bottom there, it's got now off. Bottom left-hand corner, it will say off. And if I push that again, that now says on. Doubt whether you see that clearly. So push that in, that turns that function on and off. So if I'm doing a group shot, I turn it off. And if I'm doing a portrait, an individual shot, I can turn that on. And likewise, it's got, you know, your bird detect, animal detect, and that's great because I've got another function button set up for adjusting that quickly if I'm photographing me cats. So yeah, so fast and easy to use camera. I love my A7 IV. I can't imagine I'll be changing this anytime soon. 10-bit 4K video. It's oversampled from 7K. So again, nice crispy image. And as I say, it's used all the time in the studio here. So yeah, brilliant camera, great photographs. As I say, take a look at the photographs on my Flickr page. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content of this video. That'd be fantastic. And remember to share it with people if you think other people might find this video interesting. There we go. Many thanks. Cheers for now. Bye.